Amen.
Good morning. We're at the shul.com podcast and we are here at the Surfside Kolel Boker, and we have another secret to reveal today. It comes from the book Shomer, Emunim, Ma'amar, Hashgacha, Peratit, page Resh Zayin. That's 207. So I got this last night, really late. Listen, we look at the Sfarim, we deliver the goods. You can do whatever you want with the delivery. Don't shoot the messenger, please. And God, in all of His mercy and His hasadim, al am kodsho, on His holy nation, now that we finally are coming to the days of the Geulah, we're seeing the redemption happen and break open right in front of us. We're seeing events happening in Israel that never happened. We're seeing that even with the country, even with the military, with the police force, with the border control, with everything that's at our hands, we are at the mercy of the Borei Olam. But we're really coming to the Geulah. And he says in Shomer Emunim, now that the year is coming, in just a few short days and time, everyone has to come and finish their tikkun. One of the things about a tikkun, this is not in the book, but on the sefer I'm going to tell you about it. Tikkun is that Hachamim bring down that a person can come down in multiple Gilgulim. They say it could be up to 3 Gilgulim. What's going to be though is that when there's going to be Tehiyat HaMetim, only one of the 3 is coming. Which means God's going to determine and say, okay, we've had different Gilgulim over the course of history from the time of Yetziat Mitzrayim. The 600,000 original souls that came down, and everyone is a piece of that. Today we have more than 600,000 Jews. So other Jews we're part and part of each other. So it could be you're connected to other Jews in different places, but we all come from the 600,000 souls. He says from the 3 Gilgulim of every person, if they needed to come down 3 Gilgulim, the one that is the best is the one that makes it to the Yemot HaMashiach. So what that means is that if this Gilgul, now that you're around, you make the right tikkun and you do you fix up the last few things that need to be done, God's going to say, all right, so we'll determine and keep you. Otherwise, what could be is that the Gilgul of a previous generation, of someone who was a little bit better or finished his tikkun better, he ends up surviving into Hayat HaMetim. So really, when you're doing a tikkun, what you're really doing is saying, okay, hold on a minute. Do I want to be around, or do I want to let my previous Gilgul make it to Yemot HaMashiach? So when you're learning more Torah, you're reading more Tehillim, you're doing more tikkunim and fixing yourself. And fixing yourself is a tikkun. It means to fix. Mitaken means to fix something that's broken. Who knows what's broken? You yourself know what you need to fix. You know where your desires are going. Everyone has a different desire. To some person, it might be Shemirat Einayim. To one, it might be Shemirat Lashon. To one, it might be Shemirat Ozayim. To another guy, it could be all 3 or more. It could be everything. So everyone has a different test. That's why some people, you see, he has no Yitzhak Hara to do the things that you have. So you think yourself, okay, he finished. That guy has more tikkunim than you have to deal with. It's just different ones. Everyone has their own baggage that God sent them down with that He has to fix. And it's a challenge. God made the challenge because, just like everything else in life, that little challenge will lead to a good success. So he brings down here that everyone has to finish their tikkun. Sibev, sibat, kol hasibot shista'aru achshav Yisrael kedoshim ad yedei nochrim taika. And it goes, one of the reasons they have to suffer, unfortunately, by the nochrim, sheseh tikkun b'mrut b'li echud u'v'yetet se'et, because that's part of the tikkun lo alenu. Kemo she'amnu hasadikim, like the righteous should say, umuva b'sifrei chokhmah shekol hanehegim bishpanien u'bepartagal. The people that are dying, I guess, in Portugal at the time, b'gzerot hashmad, Spain and Portugal. It says here, bishpaniag. España, that he's saying. So he's saying España, not Spain. Ube Portugal, that's I guess in the 1492. And then, by the way, the Jews were thrown out of Portugal like 10 years after they were thrown out of Spain. When all of them went over, they had to leave there too. They ended up going to Italy, Turkey, Morocco. So he says here, V'chol oto hador, that entire generation, hayu bil Gilgulin Shamot. Those were Gilgulin Shamot mizman bayit rishon. That from the first Beit She'avdu Avoda Zara. They were of the Avoda Zara in the first generation. He says, the only way that they were able to fix the ones who left Spain, there was almost, I think, 300,000 that were killed, and I think over 100 or 200,000 that became Marranos, that accepted to become Christian or Catholics or got baptized. So he says those were Avdei Avodah Zara and Bayit Rishon. So the ones that were killed, they needed to give up their lives al Kiddush Hashem to fix what they did the first time around in Beit HaMikdash, or it could have been the second time, because it was the second part of the soul, the second Gilgul. That was the end of their tikkun. They had to finish that last piece off, and that's it. They're done. They're ready. They had to, unfortunately, die. So sometimes when we see lo alenu, things we don't understand, we have to give God credit. He's been around for over 780 plus years. Give him a little credit. We come down for a short time. Maybe the guy gets 120 years. Maybe he gets 100. Maybe he gets 90 or 80 years. And you want to start determining on God, hey, why'd you do this, or why'd you do that to that guy? Well, we don't understand our current physical structure of the world pretty much to any extent. Today we're discovering more and more things. It was just in 1995 they discovered a cave in Vietnam. This cave ended up being the largest cave that they ever found on planet Earth, or on Earth itself, which is so interesting. In 1995, it's like 25, 30 years ago, which means to say that we are still discovering things each and every day, month, new insects, new creatures, new fish, new aquatic animals. We're finding things about space, about physics. What I'm trying to say is that we are nowhere near understanding anything of our physical world. Spiritual things. And this world, besides being a physical, is a metaphysical world. There's something unique about this world, is that the next world is all spiritual. There's no physical. But coming down to here, you have that little mesh of physical and spiritual. And sometimes you meet those hachamim. Sometimes you meet those hachamim in Israel, you just feel a charge. That's why I love going to both the Tzaddikim b'hayehem or b'mitatam. Also, I go to the Kivrei Tzaddikim, because when you go to the ones that are alive, you feel it. I remember the first time I went to go visit the Baal Shem Tov. We went to the cave of the Baal Shem Tov. I'm not kidding. You felt the kedusha going right into the cave, it was a mausoleum of the Baal Shem Tov. By the way, when we went on that trip, we must have went on third Kivrei Tzaddikim. From cemetery to cemetery. The moment I went into the Baal Shem Tov, you feel it. And I tell everybody, go visit the Baal Shem Tov, the father of the Hasidut, the father of the movement. You will see and feel things that you've never discovered before. And that's from the Baal Shem Tov. So he says here, that was the end of their tikkun. Those people must have done something, and they had to go through lo alenu lehareg mamash. Some of them, their sin was only in their thoughts, meaning they didn't actually do avodah zara, but they might have a thought that, hey, maybe it could be, maybe, I don't know, it's interesting, it's got something over there. Uvdibur, some of them only with their mouth. Some of them, they were helping others to do the avodah zara. So everyone had a different issue with it. When those people had to go through sa'ad, they had to run away, because they didn't actually do the avodah zara. They might have done a part of it, so the punishment was just the running away part, not the actual. Everyone according to their tikkun.
And the people, the Moranos,
so he didn't talk about the Moranos. I just pulled up.
Must be that they did avodah zara beseder or something.
It could be. It could have been something that was hidden. Now we do know it is brought down from Bayit Rishon that when they would go to Bayit Rishon to pray, they would come into their pockets with little Avdei Avodah Zara, little mini ones that were actually figurines. They have these from archaeological findings that they would, from Bayit Rishon, little mini statues. Now we think these little statues were just like little dolls that were little nothings. They're not. We will believe they talk about Yonatan ben Uziel and his Targum, how he reveals, I believe it's in Parashat Balak, how these little figurines were animated. They used to talk. They would advise them where to go. They would kiss them, and then they would help them be successful in things. These avodah zara, these little items were real. It's funny. I find this this comparison to be important. But if you look today, we don't have these little avodah zara in our pockets. But instead, what do we have? We have these little phones. and we literally hold an item in our pockets in shul, which is kind of like what the example they said in Beit Rishon, that they would come pray, but they had in their pockets things. So there is, I feel that there is a huge thing, and Rabbi Yitzhak Modiano in Israel, he brings it down. You should try to not bring your phone to shul. Try to either shut it off, put it outside. I try to leave it in this room when I'm praying instead of having it with me. Every time your phone vibrates, your mind gets occupied, even if you're not going to look at it. There's a psychology that's put into the phone, into the software, into the colors, into the feelings, the vibrations, the sounds, to make you addicted to the item. And so once you know that, you can be a little bit more extra careful and to try to avoid it. So with that, we end the Shomer Emunim, and we have that Hidush for today. Baruch Adonai Le'olam, Amen v'Amen.